PA Cosmetology State Law Study Guide. Term definitions. The board is the Pennsylvania State Board of Cosmetology. The Act of May 3, 1933, known as the Cosmetology Law, went into effect January 31, 1934. Booth space. The area of a salon in which a licensed cosmetologist or a holder of a limited license provides to a client a service for which a license is required under the Act. Braiding. Intertwining the hair in a systematic motion to create patterns in a three-dimensional form, inverting the hair against the scalp along part of a straight or curved row of intertwined hair, or twisting the hair in a systematic motion, including extending the hair with natural or synthetic hair fibers. Bureau. The Bureau of Professional and Occupational Affairs in the Department of State. Cosmetologist. A licensed individual who is engaged in the practice of cosmetology. Cosmetology. Any or all work done for compensation by any person, which work is generally and usually performed by cosmetologists, which work is for the embellishment, cleanliness and beautification of the human hair, such as arranging, braiding, dressing, curling, waving, permanent waving, cleansing, cutting, singeing, bleaching, coloring, pressing or similar work thereon and thereabout, and the removal of superfluous hair, and the massaging, cleansing, stimulating, manipulating, exercising or similar work upon the scalp, face, arms or hands or the upper part of the body, by the use of mechanical or electrical apparatus or appliances or cosmetics, preparations, tonics, antiseptics, creams or lotions or by any other means. And of manicuring the nails, which enumerated practices shall be inclusive of the term cosmetology but not in limitation thereof. Term cosmetologist also includes the acts comprising the practice of nail technology, natural hair braiding and aesthetics. Department. The Commissioner of Professional and Occupational Affairs in the Department of State. Aesthetics. The practice of massaging the face, applying cosmetic preparations, antiseptics, tonics, lotions or creams to the face, removing superfluous hair by tweezers, depilatories or waxes, eyelash perming and the dyeing of eyelashes and eyebrows. The term includes the use of industry-standard mechanical and electrical apparatus and appliances in the practice of aesthetics. Aesthetician. An individual licensed by the board to practice aesthetics. Lavatory. A working toilet and a working sink with hot and cold running water that are located in a separate room that affords privacy to the user. Limited license. A license issued by the board to an individual which permits that individual to engage in the practice of aesthetics, natural hair braiding or nail technology. Limited practice salon. A salon licensed by the board for the provision of esthetician services, nail technology services, or natural hair braiding services only. Limited practice teacher. A teacher licensed by the board for the purpose of providing instruction in the area of aesthetics, nail technology, or natural hair braiding only. Nail technician. An individual licensed by the board to engage in the practice of nail technology. Nail technology. The practice of manicuring the nails of an individual, applying artificial or sculptured nails to an individual, massaging the hands of an individual or massaging the lower arms of an individual up to the individual's elbow, massaging the feet of an individual or the lower legs of an individual up to the individual's knee, or a combination of these acts. Not allowed to remove calluses in PA. Natural hair braider. An individual licensed by the board to engage in the practice of natural hair braiding. Natural hair braiding. The practice of utilizing techniques that result in tension on hair roots of individuals such as twisting, wrapping, weaving, extending, locking, or braiding of the hair. Term includes the application of heat by the use of a straightening comb, ceramic iron, or similar appliance to prepare the hair for manipulation. Term does not include cutting the hair or the application of dyes, reactive chemicals, or other preparations to alter the color or to straighten, curl, or alter the structure of hair. School of Cosmetology. Any individual, partnership, association, business corporation, non-profit corporation, municipal corporation, school district, or any group of individuals however organized whose purpose is to provide courses of instruction in cosmetology or the teaching of cosmetology. School district. A school district, joint vocational school or department, area vocational technical school or technical institute providing vocational education under Article 18 of the Public School Code of 1949. Tanning units. Equipment that utilizes ultraviolet light for the purpose of cosmetic tanning. Cosmetology school requirements. A school of 25 students must have an area of no less than 2,750 square feet. No less than 750 square feet must be devoted to theory. For every additional student over 25 students, 9 square feet must be added. A school must have adequate designated male and female lavatories with hot water. The teacher-to-student ratio must not exceed 1 teacher to 25 students. Each school must have at least 1 full-time teacher. Uniforms. Students must be attired in washable uniforms and be distinct from teachers. School supervisor. Each school must be under the immediate supervision of 1 supervisor that must be approved by the board. For approval, the school must submit the name, signature, license number, and proof of their 2,500 hours teaching experience. If the supervisor will be absent for a period exceeding 2 weeks, a temporary supervisor must be appointed and the board notified in writing. Temporary supervisor's name must be displayed in a conspicuous place, the same way the permanent supervisor's name must be. Supervisors cannot supervise more than 1 school at one time. To become a licensed cosmetology school, the school must submit an application, a sketch plan of the layout, must pay the fees, must provide the supervisor's qualifications, proof of name registration, and proof of application for accreditation. Proof of accreditation must be submitted within 5 years of licensure. A new owner may be given an additional 5 years. The school's license must be renewed biennially for $300. All cosmetology schools must have attached to its staff a currently licensed physician for consulting purposes. All must have a library with copies of the state laws. Records. Schools must maintain daily financial, attendance, and scholastic records of each student. Records of hours must be kept for no less than 7 years. Notarized reports of hours must be submitted quarterly on the 15th of April, July, October, and January, containing the names and licenses of the teachers employed by the school. To accept paying clients, all schools must display sign in a conspicuous place near the entrance with 2-inch high lettering "All work in the school done by students only" and "Charges for reasonable cost of materials only. School of Cosmetology" must be displayed near entrance. Student duties. A school shall require students to keep their stations clean and to assist in general cleanup and other duties that may be required in an operating salon, except that students may not be required to scrub floors, wash windows, or perform janitorial tasks. Required school equipment. A school of cosmetology with 25 students or less must have available the following equipment for student use. The amounts of each must increase with the added students. 4 shampoo basins. 8 hair dryers. 4 manicure tables with chairs. 4 closed containers for sanitized implements. 4 wet sanitizers. 4 facial chairs. 4 complete sets of cold wave equipment. 1 mannequin per student. 12 styling stations with mirror and chair. 1 locker per student. 4 closed containers for soiled linens. 3 closed waste containers. 1 container for sterile solution for each manicure table. 1 bulletin board 2 foot x 2 feet. 1 chalkboard 4 foot x 4 feet. 1 clean linen cabinet. Armchair or usable table and chair for each student in theory classroom. 3 timer clocks. Attendance records. 2 sanitary towels per student. Each cosmetology student must have 1 shampoo cape. 1 pair scissors. 1 hair cutting razor. 2 brushes. 6 combs. 100 pin curl clips. Complete tools for nail technology including emery boards, pushers, brush. A carrying case of sufficient size to carry all needed equipment. A basic cosmetology textbook and book of questions and answers or workbook. 1 pair of tweezers. Each aesthetic student must have 1 facial cape. 2 spatulas. 1 pair tweezers. 1 makeup kit. Facial supplies. A carrying case of sufficient size. A basic skincare and makeup textbook. Each nail technician student must have 1 polish kit. Complete tools for nail technology including emery boards, pushers, brush. A carrying case of sufficient size. A nail technology textbook. A natural hair braiding student must have 1 shampoo cape. 1 comb out cape. 2 brushes. 6 combs. 100 pin curl clips. A carrying case of sufficient size. A natural hair braiding textbook. Hours. Cosmetology students must complete 1,250 hours. No more than 650 hours may be completed online. Aesthetic students 300 hours. Nail tech students 200 hours. Natural hair braider 300 hours. Cosmetology salon apprentices must complete 2,000 hours under a licensed cosmetology teacher no less than 23 years of age with no less than 5 years of experience. No salon may have more than 2 apprentices. Apprentices must complete no less than 25 hours a week. Teacher program students, cosmetology and limited practice 500 hours. Full-time day students may receive credit for no more than 8 hours per day, 40 hours per week. Night or part-time students may receive credit for no more than 4 hours a night or 20 hours a week. Full-time cosmetology students must complete their hours in no less than 8 consecutive months. Part-time cosmetology students must complete their hours in no less than 15 consecutive months. If the holder of a limited license enrolls for their cosmetology license, they will receive credit for the limited license hours as follows. Aesthetics credit for 160 hours, nail tech credit for 100 hours, natural braider credit for 125 hours. In case you come across this, a barber is 555 hours of credit on last check. To perform services on the public, students must have completed. For cosmetology 300 hours. For aesthetics 75 hours. Nail tech 50 hours. Natural hair braider 75 hours. Temporary licenses. Once a student has completed the required hours and paid both the examination and licensing fee, a temporary license is issued. A temporary license is good for 9 months. There are never extensions. Temporary license holders must practice under a licensed cosmetologist or holder of corresponding limited license. Exams. To take the applicable exams, several requirements must be met. You must provide proof of hours, a physician's certification that you are free of communicable diseases, and both the exam fee and license fee must be paid. A first-time examinee shall complete and pass both the theoretical and practical portions of the exam within 1 year of the date the first portion is passed. If the exam provider changes, the board retains the discretion to grant exceptions to this 1-year requirement to facilitate the transition from one exam provider to another. An examinee who fails either the practical or theoretical part of the examination for a cosmetology teacher, limited practice teacher, cosmetologist, esthetician, nail technician, or natural hair braider license will be required to retake and pass the failed portion of the examination within 1 year of the date the examinee takes and passes the other portion of the examination. Each license has the following additional requirements for taking the licensure exam. Cosmetology at least 16 years of age and a 10th grade education or higher, and 1,250 hours of cosmetology school or 2,000 hours apprenticeship. Aesthetics at least 16 years of age and a 10th grade education or higher, and 300 hours in a cosmetology school. Nail technician at least 16 years of age and a 10th grade education or higher, and 200 hours of education in cosmetology school. The educational requirements are waived for any student or applicant over the age of 35 and veterans. Teacher cosmetology and limited practice. At least 18 years of age, 12th grade education diploma or equivalent, and an additional 500 hours in teaching program. A no temporary license is issued for teachers. There are never exceptions allowed for age or education for the teachers program. Licenses. The state of Pennsylvania issues 6 different licenses. Cosmetologist. An individual holding a cosmetologist license is qualified without further licensure to perform the functions of a cosmetologist, esthetician, nail technician, or natural hair braider. Esthetician. An individual holding an esthetician license is qualified to perform esthetician services only. Nail technician. An individual holding a nail technician license is qualified to perform nail technology services only. Natural hair braider. An individual holding a natural hair braider license is qualified to perform natural hair braiding services only. Limited practice teacher. An individual holding a limited practice teacher license in aesthetics is qualified without further licensure to teach aesthetics in a licensed school of cosmetology and to perform the functions of an esthetician. An individual holding a limited practice teacher license in nail technology is qualified, without further licensure, to teach nail technology in a licensed school of cosmetology and to perform the functions of a nail technician. An individual holding a limited practice teacher license in natural hair braiding is qualified, without further licensure, to teach natural hair braiding in a licensed school of cosmetology and to perform the functions of a natural hair braider. Cosmetology teacher may teach and/or practice all of the above. Display. A salon license issued by the board shall be displayed in a conspicuous place within the business premises of the salon. B. An individual license shall be readily available for inspection by the public or representatives of the board at the place of business or employment of the individual holding the license. C. A school license issued by the board shall be displayed in a conspicuous place within the premises of the school. A licensee or permit holder shall immediately notify the board when the license or permit has been lost or misplaced and submit the fee for a duplicate license or permit. License expirations and renewals. All licenses must be renewed biennially on January 31st or every 2 years. Licenses issued by the board expire at biennial intervals. A license renewal notice is mailed to each licensee approximately 4 weeks before the license expiration date. Renewal of the license is accomplished by submission of the license renewal application and the license renewal fee prescribed in 7.2 relating to fees. A licensee who fails to file the biennial renewal application or pay the required biennial renewal fee by the renewal date shall have the license classified as unregistered. As long as a licensee holds an unregistered license, the licensee is not permitted to practice in this Commonwealth. A licensee who practices during a period in which the license was unregistered shall be required to pay a penalty fee of $5, as prescribed in 7.2, for each month or part of a month that the licensee practices since the expiration of the biennial renewal and may be subject to disciplinary proceedings before the board or criminal prosecution, or both. Natural hair braiders. Within 2 years of the initial issuance of a natural hair braider license issued without examination under 7.31, the natural hair braider licensee shall provide to the board a certified copy of a school transcript, a certified copy of a scholastic record required by 7.119, relating to student records, or an equivalent document certified by a licensed school of cosmetology that demonstrates that the licensee has completed 150 hours of education from a licensed school of cosmetology as a condition of renewal of the license. The 150 hours of education must include, at a minimum, 1. 50 hours in scalp care, 2. 50 hours in hygiene, 3. 25 hours in occupational safety, the provisions of the Act and this chapter, 4. 25 hours in natural hair braiding techniques such as locking and weaving. Escrow. A licensee who ceases performing licensed activities shall promptly request the board in writing to place the license in escrow. An escrowed license may be reactivated upon written application and payment of the license renewal fee prescribed in 7.2 relating to fees, unless the period of escrow occurred within a biennial interval. Reexamination. The holder of a cosmetology teacher, limited practice teacher, cosmetologist, esthetician, nail technician, or natural hair braider license that has been expired or in escrow for at least 5 years shall retake and pass the practical part of the examination for that license before submitting a renewal application. Salons. Salons must display their state-issued license in a conspicuous place. They must have the phone number of the state board posted near the entrance. Salons must post the name of the manager on duty in a conspicuous place. All practicing licensees must have their own licenses displayed in a conspicuous place. Salon licensure application requirements. An owner applicant for a salon license shall submit a license application to the board with the following: a sketch plan showing the layout of the salon, including the position of the doors, windows, partitions, shampoo basins, lavatories, adjustable chairs, and other floor equipment. The name and license number of the individual who will be the designated person in charge of the salon in the absence of the owner. The salon license fee prescribed in 7.2 relating to fees. A license will not be issued until the board has verified the sworn statements made by the owner applicant in the application, and the salon has been inspected by a bureau inspector for compliance with the facility requirements of this chapter. If the inspector determines that the salon meets the facility requirements of the Act and this chapter, a license will be issued. A salon license is valid only for the locations stated on the license. The owner of a salon who wishes to change its location shall submit an application to the board for a change of salon location together with the information required in 7.51, relating to application for salon license, and the fee for change of salon location prescribed in 7.2, relating to fees. The application will be processed in the manner prescribed by 7.51. A salon owner shall submit to the board for its approval a sketch plan of any proposed change in the physical dimensions of the salon. The board must be notified in writing in the case of a change of owner-co-owner, and a fee must be paid. Management of salons. A cosmetology salon shall be managed by the salon owner or, in the absence of the salon owner, a person in charge designated by the salon owner. The designated person in charge shall be a licensed cosmetologist, except as follows. In the case of an esthetician salon, the designated person in charge may be either a licensed cosmetologist or a licensed esthetician. In the case of a nail technology salon, the designated person in charge may be either a licensed cosmetologist or a licensed nail technician. In the case of a natural hair braiding salon, the designated person in charge may be either a licensed cosmetologist or a licensed natural hair braider. Both the owner and the designated person in charge are responsible for posting the name of the owner or designated person in charge in a conspicuous place in the salon as required by Section 4.4b of the Act 63 PS 510.4b. The owner or designated person in charge of the salon shall be readily available in person to bureau inspectors during regular business hours. Primary responsibilities of a salon owner and designated person in charge are the administration of the business and personnel affairs of the salon, and to assure compliance within the salon with all laws of the Commonwealth, this chapter and the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act. A salon owner or designated person in charge will be subject to disciplinary action by the board for a violation of the Act or this chapter committed by a licensed employee of the salon, if the owner or designated person in charge had knowledge of or control over the violation or should have had knowledge or control. Booth space rental is prohibited in Pennsylvania. Physical space of salons. The floor area of a salon operated by one licensee must have a minimum area of 180 square feet with a minimum width of 10 feet. An additional area of at least 60 square feet is required for each additional licensee in the salon. A salon must have adequate lavatories on the premises. For the purposes of this section, on the premises means within the square footage of the salon. The entrance to a salon that is located in a private home must permit clients to enter the salon directly from the public thoroughfare without passing through any part of the home. A salon must display, at or near its main entrance, a sign that is clearly visible indicating to the public that it is a cosmetology salon or limited practice salon. Salon equipment required. All requirements listed are for one licensee. Additional supplies may likely be required for additional licensees. Cosmetology salon. 1 adjustable chair. 1 dryer or blow dryer. 1 shampoo tray or basin. 12 combs per licensee. 12 brushes per licensee. 12 sanitary towels for each styling station. A labeled first aid kit. 1 covered waste container. A closed towel cabinet for clean linen. A closed storage area for soiled linen. 1 timer clock. 1 closed container for sanitized implements. 1 wet sanitizer. A reception desk. At least 1 sink with hot and cold running water that is readily accessible to each styling station. 1 multi-purpose fire extinguisher suitable for classes A, B, and C fires. An adequate number of lavatories must not need to enter a home to access lavatories. Aesthetic salon. 1 esthetician. 1 adjustable chair. 1 workstation with mirror. 1 labeled first aid kit. 1 covered waste container. Closed storage for soiled linen. 1 closed towel cabinet for clean linen. 1 timer clock. 1 closed container for sanitized implements. 1 wet sanitizer. 1 dry sterilizer. Reception desk. 12 sanitary towels for each workstation. At least 1 sink with hot and cold running water that is readily accessible to each styling station. 1 multi-purpose fire extinguisher suitable for classes A, B, and C fires. An adequate number of lavatories must not need to enter a home to access lavatories. Nail technician salon. 1 technician. 1 chair for manicures and pedicures. 1 manicure table with light, chair and stool. 1 pedicure basin and stand. 1 labeled first aid kit. 1 covered waste container. Closed storage for soiled linen. Closed towel cabinet for clean linen. 12 sanitary towels for each workstation. 1 wet sanitizer. Closed container for sanitized implements. Reception desk. At least 1 sink with hot and cold running water that is readily accessible to each styling station. 1 multi-purpose fire extinguisher suitable for classes A, B, and C fires. An adequate number of lavatories must not need to enter a home to access lavatories. Natural hair braiding salon, 1 natural hair braider. 1 adjustable chair. 1 dryer or blow dryer. 1 shampoo tray or basin. 12 combs. 12 brushes. 12 sanitary towels for each styling station. 1 covered waste container. 1 closed towel cabinet for clean linen. A closed storage area for soiled linen. A labeled first aid kit. 1 timer clock. 1 closed container for sanitized implements. 1 wet sanitizer. A reception desk. At least 1 sink with hot and cold running water that is readily accessible to each styling station. 1 multi-purpose fire extinguisher suitable for classes A, B, and C fires. An adequate number of lavatories must not need to enter a home to access lavatories. Each first aid kit must contain antiseptic, cotton balls, protective plastic or latex gloves, blood spill kit, a hazardous waste bag. If choice is just bag, it is likely incorrect. A wash, burn ointment, plastic or latex bandage strips varying in sizes and shapes, sterile gauze pads. Salons may not be used for other purposes. Ear piercing is not allowed in cosmetology or limited practice salons. Services outside of a salon. A cosmetologist or holder of a limited license, with the permission of the employing salon, may render by appointment cosmetology or limited license services to persons at their residences and to persons who are confined to institutions due to illness, imprisonment, old age, or similar circumstances. A licensee who renders licensed services outside the salon shall maintain at the employing salon complete records for each service rendered outside the salon, including the date, time, place, and fee charged. The record of outside services shall be considered part of the records of the salon. A salon through which appointments are made for the rendering of cosmetology or limited license services outside the salon shall be responsible for ensuring that the licensees are fully supplied and equipped when they perform services outside the salon, and that all other requirements of this chapter are complied with. It is prohibited for any person to refuse, withhold from, or deny to any person because of the person's race, color, religious creed, ancestry, or national origin, either directly or indirectly, any of the accommodations, advantages, facilities, or privileges of a cosmetology, esthetician, nail technology, or natural hair braiding salon. Health and safety. Both salons and schools must adhere to same standards. Requirements apply to all practice salons. A salon must be well lighted and well ventilated. All areas of the salon, including the floors and lavatories, shall be maintained in a safe, orderly, and sanitary condition. Sharp implements shall be stored upright with the points down or in a protective case. Razors for hair, tweezers, combs, hairbrushes, and other tools, instruments, utensils, and appliances that come into contact with a client shall be sanitized immediately after each use and maintained in a sanitary condition at all times. Towels. Only clean cloth towels or disposable paper towels shall be used on clients. Unused cloth towels shall be kept in a closed cabinet. Unused paper towels shall be kept in a closed cabinet or closed towel dispenser. A cloth towel that has been used on a client shall be immediately placed in a closed container for soiled linen. A disposable paper towel that has been used on a client shall be immediately discarded in a covered waste container. The headrest of a facial chair shall be covered with a clean cloth towel or an unused disposable paper towel before the start of each facial. A clean cloth towel, unused disposable paper towel, or unused neck strip shall be placed around the neck of a client whose hair is about to be cut to prevent the hair cloth from touching the skin. Prohibited. The use of powder puffs or styptic pencils in a salon is prohibited. Only powdered or liquid astringents, applied with a clean cloth towel or clean piece of cotton, may be used to check bleeding. The creams and other semi-solid substances shall be removed from their containers with a sterile spatula or similar utensil. The spatula or similar utensil may not be permitted to come into contact with the skin or hair of another client until it is properly disinfected. An article that has been dropped on the floor or otherwise rendered unsanitary shall be sterilized before it is reused. Every salon employee who serves the public shall be clean as to person and dress and shall thoroughly cleanse the hands immediately before rendering services to a client and immediately after using the lavatory. This is often on the test. A licensee who uses a dye, tint, or other chemical shall follow the directions of the manufacturer and the regulations and instructions of the Federal Food and Drug Administration that appear on or within the container or packaging of the dye, tint, or chemical. A licensee shall refuse to serve a client whom the licensee believes has an infectious, contagious, or communicable disease, unless the client can produce a physician's certification that the client does not have an infectious, contagious, or communicable disease. A non-licensed cosmetology shop employee who renders shampoos to clients shall have a physician's certification that the employee does not have an infectious, contagious, or communicable disease. The license of a licensee who has pled guilty or nolo contendere to or has been convicted of a felony under the Controlled Substance, Drug, Device, and Cosmetic Act 35 PS 780-21-780-144, or a similar state or federal law, shall be subject to suspension or revocation under Section 13 of the Act. A client may not be left unattended during the heating or processing period of a permanent wave operation or chemical application. Electrical appliances shall be installed properly and grounded. The Board. The Board consists of 13 members, 3 public members, 8 professional members, 1 consumer protection member, 1 commissioner, the Commissioner of the Bureau of Professional and Occupational Affairs. The State Board of Cosmetology is appointed by the Governor. And no more than 2 consecutive terms might be served on the State Board. Quorum is 7 members. To change a rule or law, 1 public hearing must be held. All public sessions begin at 10:30 a.m. Violations. Practicing without a license, fine up to $300 and/or up to 3 months jail time. Practicing while knowingly suffering from a contagious illness or knowingly serving a client with a contagious illness, a fine up to $300 and/or up to 30 days jail time. Infecting someone with a disease or illness through negligence, a fine up to $300 and/or 3 months jail time. Salon owner employing an unlicensed practitioner, fine up to $500 and/or 6 months jail time. Board may vote to levy a civil penalty of up to $1,000 for violations, but only after a hearing. Professional licensure augmentation account. All fines and penalties are paid into this account. Possible test question. Fees. All fees were increased July of 2024. These are the updated amounts. License application for cosmetologist, esthetician, nail technician, natural hair braider, and teacher, $26. Licensure of cosmetology or limited practice salon, $142. Licensure of cosmetology school, $231. License through reciprocity, $89. Registration of apprentice, $79. Renewal fees. License of cosmetology, aesthetics, natural hair braider, nail technician, $97. Teacher license, $135. Salons, $144. Cosmetology school, $315. Approval of supervisor, $32. Change of salon approval, no inspection, $45. Change of salon inspection required, $131. Change in school, no inspection, $72. Change in school inspection required, $131. Reinspection of salon or school, $91. Certification of student apprentice hours, $58. Verification of license, registration, permit, approval, $21. Reciprocity. Cosmetology, aesthetics, nail technology, natural hair braider, all teachers. To apply for reciprocity, an applicant must submit an employment certification showing a minimum of 2 years of licensed work experience in the state, territory, or country in which they have a current license. Act 41 allows for portability of out-of-state professional licensees coming to work in Pennsylvania. 41 does this by granting all boards and commissions within the Commonwealth the authority to endorse licensees from other states, territories, or jurisdictions with substantially equivalent licensing requirements who are active, in good standing, and without discipline against their license or criminal conviction. Tension. Please be sure to especially memorize anything in bold, italics, or underlined. They have often been on tests. Pay extra special attention to the wording. It is very important. Happy studying and good luck. Miss Jillian.